Welcome to Ceasefire, where civics meet civility and engagement meets empowerment. Ceasefire is hosted by former Bernie ISD trustee and owner of the Bernie Bookshop, Dale Adams, and by former Bernie City Council member and local insurance agent, Ron Cisneros. Ready, aim, ceasefire.
Good morning, Kendall County. This is Ceasefire, brought to you by the Bernie Bookshop. My name is Dale Adams.
And I'm Ron Cisneros.
And today, we're going to talk about something a little bit different. We're going to talk about music with messages that resonate with us.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we did movies, a couple weeks back, so now we're going to talk about music.
You're going to be the one running with this because I know music that I like, and I like music that I like, but I don't know much about bands and names and backstories and all that kind of stuff. So,
well, Google is your friend.
Yeah, no, he's not. I like music, and for me, music is almost purely an emotional thing. Mm-hmm. Every song draws on our emotions in some way or another, even if it has a message that it's trying to get across. The most important aspect is always, for me, is the music, is the emotional content.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because that brings me to a quote from Bob Marley. One good thing about music, when it hits you, you feel no pain. I like that, right?
Okay. He was not much into pain. His music was pretty happy.
I don't know if it was his music that made him that way or something else, but this is a family radio station, so we're going to move on and talk about some other things. But I like a little Bob Marley when the mood is right. You know,
I do too.
Reggae is some good, relaxing music.
Did you see the movie about him? I never saw it.
No, I didn't even know there was a movie about him.
It's not that long, like a year or two old. Came out recently, about his early life.
I really love music. When I was a little kid, I had some original 45s from the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, and I had one of those little Fisher-Price little plastic turntables. And I went from the Who and the Beatles and the Stones and the Kinks all the way into Black Sabbath and AC/DC and Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and Rush, and then and I got big into punk rock and new wave and post-punk and goth and all kinds of stuff. I've always loved music. It's just a spiritual experience sometimes when you put on something like Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. You know, it's just great stuff. And
there is something spiritual about music because it's not something you find in nature, honestly. I mean, birds chirp, but it's not really the same as music. And music is just really a human thing. Yeah. It's just amazing.
I watch a lot of videos now on YouTube about people that talk about things like chord progressions and things like that, and I don't even understand that stuff. The science and mathematics behind it, and the output doesn't sound anything like math. But there's math in it
somewhere.
Somewhere, and it's incredible. I was going to tell you that. You said something about Bob Marley's movie. While I love music, I don't really like to learn about the artists because I always get disappointed. The people that produce the music always let me down. What's that old saying about not ever meeting your heroes? I just don't want to meet them. I saw a movie a few years ago based on the life of the lead singer of Joy Division, and that was the most depressing, bleak film I had seen in some time, and I was just like, So
sometimes it's important to realize that people who create things, especially incredible things, a lot of times that comes from a place of hardship or despair or just lostness or something. It doesn't always come from a place of we're all happy and we sit around and sing Kumbaya.
Well, that's a great segue into what I'm going to talk about next.
Okay.
I'm going to start us off with a song that I have loved since, the day that it came out, which would be somewhere in 1980. It's a song from The Police, from their third album, Zenyatta Mendatta, which, fight me on this, is their absolute best album.
I'm not going to fight you on it.
Well, good. Because I think I've got receipts to prove that it's the best. Well, okay, you know what? Later on in the 80s, all the young ladies would tell you that it's synchronicity, but all the young ladies are wrong because everybody knows that rock and roll is, that's a man's subject. And so Zenyatta Mendatta is their best album.
Okay.
The song is when the world is running down, you make the best of what's still around. And so I had to go back and do a little research, and what, like, for me, the song was always about, hey, stuff's going haywire, that you make do, right? And I like that message, very simple message. But I just wanted to make sure, because like I said, you meet your heroes and they disappoint you. And I'm like, so what was Sting singing about in here? And he actually had this vision of this post-apocalyptic world, right? Everything's gone, and he's like the last guy alive, and all he has left is his one tape of Otis Redding and his tin can food, and he's eating the same food every day, and it sucks, and he's got his old broken down car, and it sucks, but he still sings in the chorus, you make the best of what's still around. And I've always liked that. That's always for me an inspiring message, and that song always seems to come on right when I'm stuck in a traffic jam or something. It's just like going the wrong way, and then I hear that song and I'm like, yeah, that's all right. I'll figure it out. It's all good. I'll just figure out what made Bob Marley happy, subscribe to the same thing, and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
Okay. Well, when we first talked about this, I sort of thought to myself, I was like, okay, how can we find songs about civic engagement and good community? I just couldn't think of a lot, but I do have a couple. A lot of songs that talk about civic engagement in governments and stuff like that tend to be protest songs and against it kind of thing. And so these might be maybe a little bit along those lines. One is The Trees by Rush, which is about the sort of Canadian-American relationship and how the Canadians sort of feel diminished. But the song talks about how if you try and equalize everything, it always ends very badly. I went to high school in Canada, and I was always aware of these back and forth about America so big and bullyish and stuff like that. But that song hit me pretty well. But also another one was by The Who, which was Don't Get Fooled Again. Oh, yeah. Which is like a constant reminder that those in power are all the same almost. Yeah. They always seem to be.
That has like two hallmarks in it in classic rock. One is that scream, that Roger Daltrey scream, like the scream of rock and roll, right? There towards the end of the song. And then the last parting line, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Yeah. Right? That's classic. Yeah. Of course, I would like for Roger and Pete to listen to those lyrics again and say, yes, guys, guess what? You're old. And you became that thing that you didn't want to become.
Yeah. It's interesting how they can have these insights sometimes, and yet they don't realize the relevance in the rest of their lives. It was on the, it was late 80s. I can't remember the name of the album. It had the red ball on the cover, and they had that song with Amy Mann, speaking of Canadians, Time Stands Still. She sang background vocals, and of course they weren't going to bring her out for one song, so they had a video of her on the screen behind the band. Really? They wouldn't bring her on stage with them?
Well, for one song, like for an entire U.S. tour? I don't know.
If you're going to have her in the song, have her in the song.
Well, but then
it's a live performance.
She was probably busy doing something with her own band.
Okay,
I don't know.
Live performances should be live.
Anyway, for the ladies out there, we're done talking about Rush. You can turn the radio back on now.
Go ahead. But, thinking about this and the emotional aspect of songs, I realized that the songs that hit me the most are the poignant ones, like Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, and things that bring back feelings that sometimes it's sadness or nostalgic or something like that. And those are the ones that hit me the most. And I'm not sure why. That's just a personal thing with me, I guess.
We should mention that's a Gordon Lightfoot song.
Yes, Gordon Lightfoot. And he has a lot of those. And I grew up with sort of old classic rock and sort of the acid rock and stuff like that. My home was a bit of a hippie land. Yeah. And it never really, I didn't move on to the punk and other stuff like you did. But lately, or in my adult life, I took a great liking to folk songs and classical music, and I some country too. There's some really good country songs that I listen to. Yeah. It's interesting that I've had a big gap there, and then I'm broadening my horizons in my older years.
Yeah. Well, I think we're up for a break.
Okay. Well, that's Ceasefire, and we'll be back in just a moment. Bernie has its own bookshop. In fact, it's called the Bernie Bookshop. Hi, I'm Dale Adams, inviting you to get lost. Get lost in a good book in our relaxed and casual atmosphere. We have a wide and eclectic selection in the Bernie Bookshop. We pride ourselves on finding what you're looking for. We do author meet and greets, host writing workshops, and can connect you with a good book club. And your young ones will absolutely love our kids section at the Bernie Bookshop. And while we want you to get lost, we're easy to find, as we're in the heart of Bernie, at the back of the Richter Tavern building. We are the Bernie Bookshop. Welcome back. This is Ceasefire with Dale and Ron. We're talking about music and messages.
Yeah.
What's a good message in a song that you've heard?
Well, there's a song from U2 on the War album. Now we're going to 1983. And it's funny, I was doing a little research on this, and this is probably considered by many the worst song on that album, which is a great album. I don't have a song on there that I don't like. People have suggested that this is the weak link in that album. I have liked it from the beginning, which is odd because it has a trumpet in it. And when I was in high school, I apologize right now for this, and for anybody that's ever played any wind instrument, I hated wind instruments or horns in rock and roll. I just...
Really?
I couldn't stand it.
You didn't like the flutes in Jethro Tull?
No, I didn't, I didn't like the saxophone and quarter flash, and it wasn't until I heard this song, and there's this incredible trumpet solo in there, and I was like, oh, I guess I do like horns. And now, my ears are open to it, and I'm not...
Glad to see
I still have a problem with quarter flash. That saxophone in that one song just drives me nuts. But anyway, this song, I saw an interview with Bono years ago, and he was talking about Adam Clayton, the bassist, who is the only he's atheist, and so the only non-Christian in the band. And it's written from the perspective of Jesus' eyes trying to pursue Adam Clayton. And I like that. And I think I did my work here. I've got lyrics. I talk to you, you walk away, you're still on the downbeat, you say you don't want my help, but you can't escape if you're running from yourself. I give you my love, I give you my love, give you my love, still you walk away. I think that's just it's a neat message. I've always liked that song, and thankfully that song got me out of my anti-horn and rock and roll thing.
I'm glad to hear that.
I've matured.
So did the other band member, I can't remember his name, understand the message that Bono was sending?
That's according to Bono, but I don't think it's changed him. I like him. He's a great bassist.
Oh, yeah?
He has some good grooves. You were talking about like the emotions that you feel when you listen to the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. I had the unfortunate pleasure of going to Salt Lake City. Not that that was bad, but the reason I went was bad. I was in Fort Lauderdale at the time, and I had to go. My brother just died, and I had to go pick up his BMW, which was in Salt Lake City. He worked for Delta, and he'd flown back to Florida to take care of some work there because he was working between both locations, and his car was left at the airport in Salt Lake City. So he died, and I had to go back to Salt Lake and pick up his car and drive it back. And on the way, I heard this song from a band called Widespread Panic, which is a jam band. And if you don't know what that is, it's like Fish or the Grateful Dead. And that's probably the only genre of music that I don't really care for. I don't hate, I just don't care for it, right? It's just...
Okay.
But I heard this song, and it's called Picking Up the Pieces. And it just instantly clicked with me, and the lyrics were deeply impactful and meaningful, and they're very simple. And according to the bassist, Dave Schools, the song is about sweating out your worries, which is actually some of the lyrics in the song, and I will share some of those with you. Let's see, not wanting to meet my Savior, not this way. Later on, sweating out my worries, just another day. I'm driving somewhere in southeast Utah when I hear this song, thinking about everything that's transpired, my brother dying from COVID, and hearing that lyric, not wanting to meet my Savior, not this way. And that is still, that song's on heavy rotation. One of the few jam bands that has made it into my...
Your elite collection.
Yeah. I like that one a lot, too.
Yeah.
So that's a good song. Yeah. You got another one for us?
I'm going to talk about something that'll lead up to some music, not necessarily... I like to travel a lot, as you probably know. And one thing I like to buy when I go to foreign countries is music from that country. And so I have a lot of CDs of all different kinds of stuff. And they're interesting. It's usually some sort of local folklore or folk music, because it's traditional music rather than some current band or something like that. And I got an album or a set of albums, 3D CDs, of Irish folk music. And I found that music to be incredibly poignant and impactful. They had a song about World War I. It's called Waltzing Matilda, and about these soldiers that went there, went through some battles and came back, and it was just incredibly impactful. And almost every song on that is just a wrenching of the emotions about some issue. Mm-hmm. And you were talking about the song earlier that
When the World is Running Down.
When the World's Running Down. There's a song on this one about a farmer behind a plow, and he sees the rain on the horizon. He knows he's going to get wet, but he's just got to finish out the plow, and he's going to go back and forth and plow all day long, because that's what he's got to do to raise his oats and or whatever. And it's just, this one album is probably one of my favorites of all time, and it's not going to have anybody you've ever heard of, but it's just, this folk music was just really impactful for me. So I try and go back and listen to older stuff and folk stuff that might be different than what I usually listen to.
Yeah. I remember we took a trip to Iceland. My first time in Iceland. We were there with a couple of friends, and we walked into this record store in downtown Reykjavik, and of all the music there, we saw some local Icelandic bands, European bands, American bands, classic rock bands. I mean, everything under the sun was in this record store, including some really good coffee. And Dale walks away from there with an LP, not of music.
I didn't find one.
But of Barry Goldwater campaign speeches.
Who could imagine you'd find something like that in Iceland? I couldn't believe it. It was stunning. And it had speeches from people, even Ronald Reagan. And this was from, 64 or whatever.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
but it wasn't music.
What was crazy is that you actually bought it and brought it on the plane with you.
Or a kroner or whatever it was. It was dirt cheap.
Have you ever listened to it?
No, I haven't. I'm waiting for you to come over and we can listen together.
That'll never happen.
It's a bit of history.
Only you, Dale.
Yeah.
Only you.
I'm going to bring a book out here real quick.
All right.
And this is actually a really neat book. It's got some quotes that I want to bring out. It's called The Songs of America, and it's written by John Meacham and Tim McGraw, which one is a historian and the other one's a musician. Mm-hmm. And it talks about music throughout American history. And I want to read you, first off, a couple of quotes. One is from Henry David Thoreau, and this is sort of, we've talked a little bit about this. It says, "When I hear music, I fear no danger. I am invulnerable. I see no foe. I am related to the earliest times and to the latest." And basically he's just talking about you just immerse yourself in it and the rest of the world goes away kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And George Washington even had a quote on music. And this was kind of neat, more of a practical side. He says, "Nothing is more agreeable and ornamental than good music. Every officer, for the credit of his corps, should take care to provide it." Basically saying, we need to provide music to our troops to uplift them and to motivate them and all that. So this book starts there and it goes all the way up to now. And I think it was published a few years ago. So, 3 or 4 years ago. So it's not quite all the way current. But it's got lists of protest songs from the civil rights movement, all kinds of interesting stuff. And like the Ballad of the Green Berets, which is very impactful for a lot of people, but you don't hear it on the radio much anymore, do you?
No.
Never hear it.
No.
But it's actually a pretty good song. So it's a neat book. We got it at the Bernie Bookshop. And if you're interested in finding out the role of music in the history of our nation, it's a good book.
And there are a lot of great music books at the Bernie Bookshop. I picked up Alex Van Halen's Brothers there, signed copy. Thank you very much,
yes.
Dale. And Dave Grohl's book. And I think just recently I purchased something about album covers from the 1980s.
Oh, yeah, 1,000 album covers or something like that.
That's been a fun read. Yeah. And then there was one I bought a while back on, I think it was like the 100 best covers in rock and roll or something like that, which was a complete sham because they were missing some and they had some others in there.
You don't agree, huh?
No. That's one of those books that just causes fights.
Yes. That's too subjective.
Yes, those books, people print those to start fights.
Yeah.
You know, and it started one. So,
we actually just got in a book. It just came out last week, which is all of the writings of Johnny Cash. Basically, it was put together by this guy with the help of Johnny Cash's son, and it's got everything he's ever written. Poems, songs, lyrics for stuff that was published, that wasn't published, or performed, and just all his stuff. And it's even got facsimiles of his writing and the sheets he wrote on and stuff like that. It's a huge book, and it's a pretty incredible book. If you're a fan of Johnny Cash, I think you'd really like this book. It's pretty neat.
All right. I'll give that one a spin.
Yeah.
Add that to the ever-growing stack of books that need to be read. It's becoming a mountain. I could build the border wall with all the books that I bought.
Yeah, you keep out all the new music.
Well, I got one more for us. Since we're probably getting close to time here, I'm going to talk about Time, the song from Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, easily top 10 album, probably top 5 album of all time for me, in music in general. I think it's just a great album. Great solo in that song. The writing is tremendous. The message in that song about this guy who just wakes up and realizes the sun's gone around and around and around, and he has run out of time and wasted most of his life. I love that song. I love that message. Constant reminder to get busy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Make it worthwhile, whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quit being lazy.
Yeah.
Quit listening to music, sitting around doing nothing.
Well, you can have a role for that. I'm going to tell you a quick story about a song.
All right.
It's an Eric Clapton song. It's called "Wonderful Tonight," and I'm not saying that it's a special community building song, but it was our wedding song. But it never played at our wedding. We had a wedding out on a boat, and so we told the band this is the music we wanted, and I specifically said, this is our song. And we got there, we're on the boat, we're away from the shore on this middle of this lake, and there's no going to get anything, right? Oh, we don't know that song. We can play the CD. I'm like, well, okay, that's fine. Play the CD. Oh, we don't have the CD. So they played something else for us, and we never played that. But it's still, to this day, it is our wedding song. And when we play it, we dance. And sometimes a song can be there for you, even when it wasn't actually there for you.
Here's one more. Man, I'm reluctant to bring this one up. Helpless from Faith No More. Talking about a song being there for you, even when it's not there. I hear that song a lot. It's a rather haunting song, and I'm probably the only guy in Bernie that knows who Faith No More is.
Yeah,
that's all right. That's all right. I can live with that.
I bet you we're going to get calls from people that know it now.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's somebody, well, not the young folks, but people maybe 10 or 15 years younger than me will know who I'm talking about. Yeah.
There's some of those here.
Yeah. I don't even know how to describe them. Is that new metal or anybody?
I don't know.
If you know.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, well, one of my favorite bands, actually. And this song, mid-90s, I think it was from an album called Album of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. And, oh, gosh, that one always just, I think about my mom a lot. And I can't tell you why, but I think about my mom a lot when I hear that song. It's a song of despair, but it resonates.
Yeah. But that's part of songs, is they bring out these emotions, and it's good for us. And music is a safe way to bring out those emotions. Yeah. It's particularly some of the more aggressive emotions. You know, some songs are very aggressive, and getting that emotion out and expressing it in a safe environment is a good thing.
Yeah.
There's a song that always reminds me that I need to sort of be true, and that is Leonard Skinner's Simple Man. Because every time I hear it, I think, okay, you know, it's the simple things in life that are important. Simplify yourself, focus on what's important, and don't get caught up in all the things that the world is trying to get us caught up in. And it's a great song. I love it.
Yeah, that is a good song. Speaking of emotions, Pharrell Williams, Happy. Everybody likes that song. That came out, and I think with the Despicable Me 2 soundtrack. Great song. Don't want to take anything away from it. I love that song. Always gets me moving every time I hear it. But the first movie had a Pharrell Williams song called Fun, Fun, Fun that wasn't as big of a hit as Happy. And I think it's a far better song with just an absolute fun message and always puts me in a good mood. In fact, if that song started playing right now, you could say whatever you wanted to me and make fun of do everything short of make fun of my dog, and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
It just puts me there in that right mood every single time.
And we need songs like that.
Yeah.
Everybody needs their own special song that does that for them.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about music, is it's always subjective. And that's why these rankings things don't ever really work, because everybody has their own idea of what songs work for them.
Except mine are expert opinions, and everybody else is just...
Yes. We're on the music snob. I'm going to lend you my Irish folk songs, and I'm going to try and broaden your horizons a little bit.
I was hoping you were going to loan me that Barry Goldwater LP.
I don't want you breaking anything. Now, one thing that I find is with some songs, unlike you, I don't try and read the background of all the songs and the writers and all this stuff, and I listen for the music, the emotional content of the music. And there's been songs that I grew up with that I loved, like Queen's
Bohemian Rhapsody.
I grew up with that. It was my favorite song for decades. And in the last 10 years, maybe 15 years, honestly, I can't stand it anymore. And it's not because I grew up with it or I'm bored with it. It's that it's about somebody who kills somebody and feels sorry for themselves. And it just drives me nuts every time I hear it now. I'm like, you know what? You're having a bad day, dude.
Yeah.
You got a lot better than you deserve. But I shouldn't end up on a negative note like that. Okay. Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Mr. Bojangles, great song.
Yep.
I loved it. Okay. We're going to draw a line there, though.
You redeemed yourself.
Okay. Ceasefire with Dale and Ron. If you missed any of it, you can always go to burningradio.com to catch our podcast or any other parts. And thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.